So, good afternoon, all participants. I request to participant please write down your roll number in chat box for attendance. सभी पार्टिसिपेंट रोल नंबर डालेंगे चैट बॉक्स में अटेंडेंस के लिए।
So very good afternoon, one and all. I would request all the participants to open the camera, please. All participants are requested to open the camera. So we have been joined by Senior Professor from Sant Garge Baba Amravati University, a person with a vast teaching and research experience in the field of computer science and information technology, a person who is heading Department of Computer Science of Sant Garge Baba Amravati University, also heading Department of MMTTC Center of Sant Garge Baba Amravati University, Professor Atique Ahmad sir. He is going to be today's expert. So on behalf of UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, I welcome Professor Atique Ahmad sir. Professor Atique Ahmad sir is a distinguished academician, researcher, and currently serving as a professor and head Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Sant Garge Baba Amravati University. Also, as I told that he is a MMTTC director, he holds a PhD in computer science and engineering along with MEB in the same field. Additionally, he has pursued an MBA in human resource management and LLB. His areas of expertise include artificial intelligence, soft computing, and medical image processing. With over 34 years of teaching experience, including 12 plus years as a professor, Dr. Atique has mentored 15 PhD scholars with 3 ongoing and 2 MPhil students. His research contribution includes 68 publications with 48 Scopus index paper across international and national journal and conference. He has also been an innovator holding a 3 granted patent and 7 published patent in Indian Patent Journal, along with 5 copyright. Additionally, he has authored 2 books published by Lambda, Germany, and S. Chang, New Delhi. Dr. Atique has played a key role in academic and research development, having executed 1.2 crore student Access Center project and UGC sponsored major research project. He is an NBA NAC assessor and trainer and has been actively involved in curriculum designing at Sant Garge Baba Amravati University as a board of study chairman and academic council member. He has delivered over 106 expert chaired multiple international and national conferences and participated in 52 week of training program. He is also a fellow and life member of several prestigious professional bodies, including IETE, IE, IST, CSI, and IGCNN, USA. His academic influence extends beyond national borders, having attended international conference in Greece. Dr. Atique continues to contribute significantly to the field of computer science and engineering, fostering research and innovation in emerging technologies. So once again, I welcome you, sir, on behalf of this entire group of 37 NEP orientation and sensitization course being organized by the Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center. And now I will
Hello. Hello.
over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Actually, your voice was breaking at the end.
So participants are muted, so they can't unmute themselves. We have
All right.
restricted, so we have make you a host. Whenever you feel that you want an answer, a question and answer in session, you can change the settings.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
I
Thank
will
you.
take your lead, sir. I will take your lead.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And a very good afternoon to one and all present in this particular meeting. Okay. As far as this particular session is concerned, I will be with you for approximately 3 hours. Right, and I very well understand because we are all from academic domain, right? So it's a bit difficult to tolerate one single person for such a long duration, but don't worry, I will not disappoint you. Okay, so we'll have one discussion on one important aspect of NEP 2020, that is the integration of ICT into, you can say, teaching, learning, and research. Having said this, as all of you know, that during the past few years, what has happened, this ICT has been replaced by what they call it as AI. So we'll be having detailed discussion on what is AI, how this technology has evolved. Okay, and then probably in the second session, we'll have some hands-on on few of the tools, right? Wherein we will also discuss various aspects of this technology. Okay, some of you may agree, rather you will have your own perception with regard to the adaptation of this technology, particularly for teaching and research. Okay, I do have my own reservations, but anyway, whatever is there, okay, we'll just try to discuss all those things in greater detail. Okay, wherein we will again look at uh, what are the various ethical issues, what are the various legal issues associated with this technology, how we can safeguard ourselves. Okay, there are certain security concerns as well. Okay, so all those dimension will definitely touch upon. Okay, and as I said, in the second part of the session, we'll have some hands-on few of these tools, okay, which you may adopt for your teaching, learning, and research. So with this note, just allow me to share my PowerPoint presentation with you. Okay, I hope I am loud and clear. And as far as the language is concerned, okay, if all of you are comfortable in English, okay, or otherwise I can speak Hindi as well as Marathi, because I am basically from Maharashtra, right? So multilingual support is again there, but since we are talking about technology, okay, we'll keep our deliberation in English as far as possible. But wherever you feel like that is, sir, bilingual is needed, please let me know. Accordingly, I will mold my deliberation. Right. So I hope my slides are visible to you. Dear participant. I hope my slides are visible to you. Somebody has to confirm. Okay. I don't, that as your coordinator has pointed out that it's not possible for you to mute yourself, but if you can at least give me something in response to the questions I am asking you, okay, in the chat box, okay, it will be a great help for me. So what do you feel, whether the slides are visible to you? Somebody has to come up, okay, so that I can continue my deliberation. Whether the slides are visible to, say yes or no, I don't know. Somebody has to come up. Okay, let me check what is there in the chat box. Okay, so yeah, roll number probably, yeah. So I hope my slides are visible to you, and this is what is there on the agenda. Okay, that is the topic, as you can very well see on the slides. Okay, that is AI engineering for teaching and research. Okay, so we'll be exploring various aspects of artificial intelligence. Okay, in the first part of the session, we'll just try to build some theoretical foundation. Okay, just try to build some theoretical foundation, that is, what is AI. So we'll start from scratch. I presume that you do not have any background of computer science. Okay, but AI is something, okay, wherein nowadays you don't require any computing background. For using all these tools, you don't need anything other than some sort of, you can say, fluency in English or some natural language. Okay, that is more than enough for dealing with this particular technology. So as I said, we'll be discussing what is AI engineering and how we can adopt this AI for teaching and research, right? So before directly jumping into what they call it as AI, okay, we need to understand what is human intelligence. Okay, so once again, I don't know whether again you can communicate with me or not. Okay, but let's say if you can put your reflections in the chat box, okay, as we used to do in the earlier scenarios. Okay, I'll be happy to go through your reflections. So what do you feel? What is human intelligence? What are the various attributes, okay, which makes us intelligent some way or the other? So what is your take on this? What do you feel? Okay, so you can put your, you can say, concern in the chat box. Okay, I'll go through it and then we'll continue further. Okay. So, any idea about human intelligence? What are the various attributes which makes us different as compared to all other living species on the earth? Right. So let me go through the, you can say the chats. Okay. 133%. Okay. You are still working on your attendance. All right. Uh, okay. No issue. No issue. All right. So let's begin our journey. Okay. There are numerous attributes. Okay, which makes us intelligent. And what are all those attributes? Those attributes are, the very first one is the ability to learn. Okay, learning abilities. Okay. Second, you may say that is reasoning abilities. Okay. So whenever we take some or the other decision, we can very well justify that how we arrived at that particular decision. So reasoning, or you may say up to some extent comprehension abilities. Okay. And last but not the least, once you have been trained in a particular domain, okay, we as a human being, we are capable of navigating novel or challenging situation. Let me elaborate further on these lines. Okay, let's say you wish to learn how to drive a car. Okay, so most of the time, what do? We join some or the other training school for that purpose, and while imparting actual, you can say, training for how to drive a car. Okay, these training people normally take you to either highways or in playground, but you will not never face that kind of a scenario all in the entire your life. Okay, let's say you have been asked due to some or the reason, okay, to drive in a downtown kind of a situation. So what do you do? Okay, now whether you call your trainer what to do next, or you apply whatever knowledge you have acquired during training to that novel or challenging situation. Right. So most of us, right, we follow the second approach. Okay, because you know the functioning of accelerator, steering, okay, brake, and so on. So what do? You apply that knowledge to that novel or challenging situation. So these are the 3 or 4 attributes which makes us intelligent, right? Now let's say by some means, if we are in a position to incorporate these things into a machine, we may call that machine as AI enabled machine, right? As an AI enabled machine, right? So what is AI? Okay, let us try to define AI on these lines. So it is nothing but the study of mechanism that think and act like human. So the very first one, for very first attribute is the thinking abilities. Okay. So the very first one is thinking ability, and the second important aspect is acting upon that thinking process. So whatever you have thought, whatever information you have processed, what do? You take some or the other decision, or you act upon that thinking. Okay, and you take some or the other decision. Or to put it in simple word, it is any technique that enables computer to mimic human behavior. Moment I say mimicking human behavior, I am referring to all those attributes which we have talked about with regard to human intelligence. So let's say by some mean, if you can incorporate these attributes into a computer program, you may call that particular program as AI enabled program. Right. So this is a very broad or vague definition of AI. Okay, and our objective is not to go into the various, you can say, the technical aspect of it. Our objective is to learn this technology as a whole. Okay, how to adapt it and how to use it in your day-to-day life. That is what is there on the agenda. Okay, so our orientation would be from users' perspective all the time, right? That is one thing. Okay, now having said this, if you look at last 3.5 years, okay, this is what has happened. Okay, under AI, what has happened initially, people used to talk about when Chat GPT was released, probably end of December 23 and mid of 2024. Okay, it was merely a question answering machine. So, wherein you can ask anything, okay, and it will process that information, it will give you the appropriate answer. That is what they call it as prompt engineering. But from December 2024 to mid 2025, what has happened? People started talking about context engineering. Okay, so what is context engineering? Context engineering is something wherein by using various tools, you can automate a workflow automation for any particular activity. Let's say I'm running a Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center and I want to automate the job of replying to all the participants' query at my center. Okay, so I can very well do that using context engineering. Okay, so we'll touch upon prompt engineering. Rather, we'll have a detailed look at prompt engineering. Then we'll also look at what they call it as the context engineering, wherein we will definitely discuss certain tools like say Zapier or N8N and how we can automate a workflow. Okay, that is what we are going to look at. But if you look at probably last few months, okay, what has happened? People started talking about what they call it as harness engineering. So what is harness engineering? Using harness engineering, you can build application. Okay, let's say I want to build an application very similar to YouTube. Now you can very well understand what kind of application YouTube is, right? How it has been developed and all. So you can build very similar application just like YouTube or any other professional application for that purpose using harness engineering. But definitely it is not a matter of, you can say, few hours or few months. Okay, it may take maybe years together, but that is what has started. People have started working on those kind of application, right? So we are into an era of what they call it as harness engineering. Now, having said this, let us move to you can say the historical perspective of this technology. That is, most of us we feel that this technology has erupted all of a sudden, okay, during last 1 or 2 decades. But my dear participant, the things are not like that. If you look at the history of AI, this term, that is artificial intelligence, it was very first time tossed by John McCarthy way back in 1956. Okay. And what was the event? The event was AI workshop that took place in Dartmouth, United Kingdom. So where this fellow has come up with this fantastic idea of AI, okay, and he presented some paper in that particular workshop. Okay, few of his colleagues were again there with him. Okay, so they have come up. So 1956 to 2026. So roughly 70 years have passed. So what I'm trying to emphasize is this technology is not at all new. It has a strong history of 70 long years. Okay. But what has happened during past few years, okay, we are witnessing hundreds of applications built on this technology. And that's why we are feeling the heat. So it is touching almost everybody's life. So whether you are a medical professional or you are a lawyer or you are a doctor, right? Or you are an academician, okay? It is touching everybody's life. And that's why we are feeling the heat, right? Now, if you look at the evolution of AI, the early AI systems were referred to as traditional AI systems. Okay, traditional AI system, and or you may call them as classical AI system. So, what was the idea behind building traditional or classical AI system? It was a pretty simple idea, that is, give computers ability to do tasks that only humans have been able to. Okay, let's say a human expert, like say a doctor. Okay, what he used to do, he used to diagnose the disease. So the idea was to build similar system. Okay, and how to build these systems by simple interaction with the human expert working at the domain. Okay, asking them n number of questions. That is, how do they solve a particular problem, or how do they diagnose a particular disease, and simply codify all those activities in the form of if-then statement. Okay, in the form of if-then statement by using some high-level language like say Prolog or Lisp. Right. So what was the idea? Idea was to interact with the human expert. Okay, learn how do they solve a particular problem, codify all those things in the form of if-then else statement, build a knowledge base. Okay, build a knowledge base, and then you can say automate that job. Okay, automate that job. Okay, so the typical examples of this traditional AI systems are, you may say, playing chess. Okay, playing chess. Okay, you must have heard that in 80s, okay, the world chess champion, they used to play against a computer. So what is that computer? That computer is basically an expert system, okay, built on this philosophy. Okay, okay, built on this philosophy. Okay, so expert systems were built. Okay, the typical examples are like, say, playing chess. And the second typical example was, you may consider as homeopath expert. Okay, you may consider as homeopath expert. Or the third one, you may consider as fully automatic washing machine. Okay, fully automatic washing machine. Okay, so in case of fully automatic washing machine, what is the scenario? Okay, you are dealing with 3 or 4 parameters. So what do we do in that case? We uh, develop or design around 27 to 30 odd rules, okay, while using all those 3 or 4 parameters, and we embed those rules into a microcontroller chip, and we place that microcontroller chip in the washing machine. Okay, and this is how we automate that job. Okay, so it takes decision as if some human being is taking all those washing decisions. And what are all those decisions? Those decisions are like, say how much detergent is to be mixed, okay, how much hot and cold water is supposed to be mixed, then what kind of washing mechanism one has to apply, whether you want to wash it with a gentle wash or a soft wash or a hard wash, and so on and so forth. So traditional AI, the idea was give the computers ability to do tasks that traditionally only humans have been able to do. Okay, codify them in the form of if then else program, if then else rules, and explicitly program using some high level language. But there were certain issues associated with this traditional approach. What were all those issues? The very first issue was these were very time intensive kind of a scenarios. Let's say if you are dealing with a very complex problem wherein you have got thousands of rules, so definitely for searching all those rules, okay, it will require, you may say, lot of time and energy. Okay, if particularly if the problem is complex. Okay, if the problem is simple, like you may say in case of washing machine. Okay, the second issue was it doesn't generalize to new situation. Okay, so why I'm saying new situation, say for example, uh, you have developed a medical diagnosis system, okay, before COVID-19, and what has happened, all of a sudden you are facing COVID-19 kind of a scenario. Okay, so if you fed all those symptoms of COVID-19, okay, to that expert system, what it will say, I'm sorry, no match found, because those symptoms were conflicting and contradictory. Okay, so it will not match to any existing rule. Okay, whatever rules you have used before COVID. Okay, so it will simply come up, sorry, no match found, unable to diagnose. Okay, that is why I'm saying that is, it doesn't generalize to new situation. The another issue was, since these systems were built with human expert interaction. Okay, so we as a human being, we suffers from a very, you can say, psychological problem, what they call it as the Polonese paradox. And what is that paradox? That basically we know more than we tell. Okay, many times we hide information. That is by default. It is applicable to all the human beings, right? So that is a phenomena. So which makes it difficult to build systems using this particular approach. Okay, because the approach was to interact with the human expert and build, you can say, if then else rules. Okay, based on the interaction, and codify them, explicitly codify them, and build system, what they used to call it as expert system, and so on. Right. So that was the another bottleneck with regard to this traditional AI. Okay, then what has happened? And then let's say if you are dealing, it is not possible to write down rules for all possible situations. If you are dealing with a very complex problem, okay, so which may lead to what they call it as combinatorial explosion. So you will have hundreds or thousands of permutation and combination. Okay, so that's why there were limited application of this technology in the early days. Okay, as I said, only few areas wherein one can use AI. Okay, and that's why nobody bothers about it. Okay, because there were limited area of application, like say playing chess and then washing machine. And the another example which I have given was the homeopath expert or any system built for medical diagnosis purpose. Then we entered into an era of what they call it as machine learning. So what is machine learning? So in machine learning, the approach is altogether different as we used to follow in case of traditional AI. Okay, what is the approach in case of machine learning? The approach is pretty simple, is to use, or rather to expose a computer algorithm with hundreds of, you can say, input output data pair, what technically we call them as data set. Okay, so we capture, let's say if you are dealing with a medical diagnosis system, okay, so you will capture all the values of symptoms, okay, and probable disease, okay, and you fed all these things into a computer program, okay, wherein we use some or the other statistical technique. And what is the objective of that statistical technique is to learn the relationship between the input and the output. Okay, so now under statistical techniques, we have very many possibilities. And what are all those possibilities? The possibilities are like, say, linear regression, logistic regression, okay, classification regression, support vector machine, random forest, gradient descent, and last but not the least is the neural networks. So we'll have detailed discussion on this last approach, what they call it as neural networks, because they are inspired from the structure of human brain. That is the biological brain. Okay, that is the neural network, and that is the most popular, you can say, statistical technique which is being used by all the large language models. Okay, so now once again, if you look at, you can say, the approach or the mathematics involved in gradient descent, it was proposed way back in 1880. Okay, that's why I said that this technology is not at all new. It has got very deep roots. Okay, so now let us move further, okay, and just try to understand what are the issues associated with this machine learning. Okay, there is only one issue which is associated with machine learning, and that issue is, that is, while dealing with this kind of a approach, okay, we have to have numeralized data or the structured data. Okay, that is, whatever symptoms I was referring to with regard to a medical diagnosis system, I have to have all those things in the form of numbers. Okay, if it is not in the form of numbers, it is not possible to feed all those values to in any computer program or any machine learning program. Okay, so for that purpose, what we need to do, we need to convert everything into numbers, and to be very precise, numbers between 0 and 1. Okay, to be very precise, numbers between 0 and 1. Okay, so let's say in case of medical diagnosis, okay, you are getting certain values in 2 digits, certain values in 3 digits, certain values in 4 digits. So what you need to do is you need to divide those values by some constant, like say divided by 10, divided by 100, divided by 1000, and get them between 0 and 1. Okay, so this activity is referred to as pre-processing. Okay, so this is the fair amount. It will definitely consume some time and energy. Okay, so this was the only problem associated with machine learning, that is, we have to have structured data, and to be very precise, data between 0 and 1. Now, having said this, let us move further. Okay, as I said, that is the most popular statistical technique is the neural network. Okay, and somewhere I've told you, that is, these new artificial neural networks are inspired from the structure of, you can say, the human brain. So this is the structure of a biological neuron. Okay, this is the structure of a biological neuron. Okay, wherein we give the input to these neurons through these dendrites. Okay, then it is being processed by the cell body. Okay, and whatever are the computation, okay, whatever is the output, it goes through this axon to the next neuron in the human brain. So this way we have millions of billions of neurons, and they are all connected with each other. Now, inspired by this structure, okay, we have artificial neural network. So what is there in artificial neural networks? As you can see here, okay, so this X1 and X2 are nothing but the neurons. Okay, they are depicted by small X1 and X2. Now, with each neuron, there is a weight associated with it. Okay, it is depicted by small w, like say W1 and W2. Okay, and let us presume that Y is the output. So if you recall the definition of machine learning, in machine learning, what exactly we are trying to do? We are trying to learn the relationship between the input and the output. So we intend to derive an equation, something like y, which is the output, equals to 0.32 into x1 plus 0.77 into x2. Right. So what exactly we are trying now? This is 0.32 and 0.77 are nothing but the values of these weights. That is W1 and W2, to be very precise. And what are all these weights in biological terms? They are nothing but the synaptic strength of that particular neuron. Okay, we call it as memory or whatever, right? So that memorizing capabilities are due to these weights. Okay. Now, as you can see in this case, this is a single layer perceptron wherein we are having only two neurons. But two neurons are not sufficient to deal with any kind of a real life scenario. So what we need to do is we have to have more number of neurons in each layer. Okay, but now, however, this is typically used for addressing or solving what they call it as the XOR problem. Okay, XOR problem. But in real life, as I said, okay, the things are not that simple. Okay, even if you look at the structure of a human brain, I have told you that there are billions of neurons and they are all connected with each other. Okay, so on the similar line, we have something like what they call it as a multi-layer perceptron. Now, what is there in a multi-layer perceptron or MLP? Okay, we have input vector X. Let's say you are capturing some 100 odd features from a patient's data. Okay, so what you can do, you can feed all those 100 values starting from X0 to X99 because X0 is inclusive. Okay, it comes out to be 100, total 100. So X0 to X99, okay, through this input vector X. So what we need to do, we need to capture all those 100 features value, carry out some sort of pre-processing, convert them into numbers, and to be very precise, numbers between 0 and 1, and fed all those 100 values through this X0 to X99 using this input vector. Okay. Now, if you recall, with each neuron, we have some weight associated with it, right? So if you are using X0 to X99, then similarly, you have to have W0 to W99. That is how many weights? 100 weights once again. Okay. Then what do? We compute the weighted sum. If you recall, this is the weighted sum. Okay. W1 into X1 plus W2 into X2. So that is nothing but the weighted sum. Okay. So weighted sum, how it would be calculated? XIWJ, summation of XIWJ, and I and J equals to 0 to N. Okay. I and J equals to 0 to N. Okay. Then whatever is the output, okay, it goes through some non-linearity, what they call it as activation function. I will not go into the details of this, okay, because our objective is to simply learn a very broader perspective. Okay, so I am trying to, you can say, explain how the training takes place in neural network. Okay, so if you recall, okay, I've told you that is training, we are imparting training, meaning thereby we are just trying to learn the value of the weights. Okay, the value of all those weights. Okay, that is what exactly we are trying to learn. Okay, so what do? We compute and then it goes through the activation function and you get some or the other output. Okay, so while training, in the beginning, what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to start with some random value of all these weights. Okay, all these weights, let us assume, as I said, you can consider any value between 0 and 1. So we'll consider, let us assume 0.5 as the value of all these weights in the first run. We compute and then you get some or the other output. Let's say the output you got in the first case was 0.75, actual output you have got. Okay, and the desired output is, let us assume it is 1.2. So meaning thereby there is an error of 1.0 minus 0.75, that is 0.25 is the error. Okay. Now our objective during training is to minimize this error, or theoretically speaking, we intend to make it as 0.00000, something like that. Okay. Now how do we do that? Okay. How do we do that? Okay. the approach is pretty simple. Initially, we have started with now, whether you can change the input, the answer is no. That is what you are trying to learn. Okay. So what you can do, you can definitely change the weights. Okay. So in the first run, what has happened? We considered all the value of these weights as 0.5. Now either you can increase it or you may decrease it. Okay. Now let us try it on the incremental side. Let us make it 0.6 and again observe the result. When you made it 0.6, all the value of weight, and again when you observe the output, let us assume that the output has changed from 0.75 to 0.85. Okay. So meaning thereby the earlier in the first run, the error was how much? 0.25. That has been reduced to 0.15, meaning thereby we are in the right direction. So what do? We go on increasing the value of all these weights till till the value of this error is equal to 0.00000. Okay. And at that point of time, we'll stop training. We declare that the training is over and all the weights are normalized. Okay, all the weights are normalized. But the things are not that simple. There are very many things involved. Many times you are stuck up in some local minima. Okay, that is the error is remaining constant. 0.15 is the error, let us assume. Okay, so it is neither increasing nor decreasing. Okay, it is remaining constant. Okay, so there are ways and means to come out of that dilemma, what they call it as stucking up in the local minima. Okay, by adding some constant, what they call it as the eta or the training rate into you can say the weights, and then just try to move out of that local minima and just try to achieve some global minima, like say 0.000. Right. So having said this, this is how the training is basically imparted. So while training, what exactly we do, we just try to learn the value of these weights. So whatever you can say the approach we are adopting, this is called as machine learning or machine training. Now there are three basic strategies one can adopt for you can say machine learning or machine training. The very first approach is what they call it as supervised training. So if you know the input and you know the output, that is if you are mapping from known to known, it is referred to as supervised training. Let's say you know the input but you are not aware about the output, meaning thereby if you are mapping from known to unknown, it is called as unsupervised or semi-supervised training. Okay, and there is one more approach, what they call it as reinforcement training. So what is reinforcement training? It is very similar to when a small kid learn how to walk. That is by trial and error. Okay, he or she will commit some mistake. Okay, so some or the other variant. Now this, even though this trial and error approach seems to be pretty simple, but it is being used by all the large language models. Whatever LLM you are using nowadays, okay, they deploy some or the other, you can say the reinforcement training approach. There are numerous variants of it, right? So having said this, this is how the training takes place. Okay, this is how the training takes place or the learning takes place. These aspects I think I have already talked about. That is how do we update the weights. Okay, we update it either on the incremental side or the decrement side. Then we have per training set updation, what we call it as epoch or iteration. So when you cycle through from this input to the output, it is called as one epoch or one iteration. So depending upon the complexity, okay, you can set the value of this number of epochs to either say 500, 5,000, 10,000, and so on, right? So that is one iteration or one epoch. When you cycle through from input to the output, it is called as one epoch or one iteration. Having said this, the third phase of evolution of AI is basically deep learning. So what is deep learning as a matter of fact? Okay, deep learning is nothing but machine learning. Okay, the baseline, it is machine learning only. The only difference is in case of deep learning, the number of layers are quite high. And that is why they are referred to as deep learning architectures. Okay, so wherein you have hundreds of layers. Okay, the complexity is very high. Okay, and that is why they are referred to as deep learning algorithms. So basically on the bottom line, it is machine learning only. Okay, that is what we have discussed at length in the previous discussion. Okay, but the number of layers are quite large, and that is why these algorithms are referred to as deep learning algorithm or DL algorithm in short. Right. Now, having said this, what kind of an input you can give to these deep learning algorithms? If you recall, in case of machine learning, it was only structured. That is, the limitation of machine learning was we have to have structured input, meaning thereby the data which can be numeralized, okay, which can be numeralized. But in case of deep learning algorithm, you can provide structured or unstructured data. Okay, so what do I mean by unstructured data? That is that is something like what they call it as images. So images can be given as an input to these deep learning algorithms. Okay. So not merely the structure definitely you can give if you are having, but you can provide images as well uh, as an input to these deep learning algorithms. Okay, that is they can handle both structured as well as unstructured. What kind of output you can expect from these algorithms? Okay, you can expect only structured data. Okay, and the best example is you can say unlocking your mobile phone through face recognition. Okay, unlocking your mobile phone through face recognition. Okay, now this feature is very common. Okay, in almost all the handset this feature is there. Okay, so whenever you purchase a new handset, what do you do basically? Right, you expose your face from different angle to camera. So what the camera will do, it will capture various features. So while doing so, exactly what you are doing, you are training it. You are imparting training to that DL algorithm. So some DL algorithm is being executed at the back end. Camera is capturing your features, okay, and all those features during training, they are stored in the form of weights. Now you can connect the dot, okay, wherein we have seen that is how do we carry out training or learning. Okay, so it will capture all those features, store all those features in the form of weights, and once the training is over, okay, once again when you switch on your mobile handset, what it will do, it will once again capture your face features, and it will compare with the stored features in the DL algorithm. So if there is a match found, okay, your mobile phone will unlock, or the other way around, it will give you some appropriate error message. Okay, that unrecognized face or something like, okay, and please enter 6-digit or 4-digit pin for unlocking the phone. Okay, so this is you can say very common. The another best example which is being used by Government of India, Ministry of Transport, is they have installed on highways, they have installed cameras. So all those cameras are capable of capturing the real time images of your vehicle. So if a particular vehicle is moving or it is exceeding the limit whatever has been specified at that particular location, okay, so it will capture the image and it will say that the vehicle was moving with a speed of 90, whereas the 80 is the speed limit in that particular lane. So you have exceeded or you have crossed the speed limit, and accordingly you will get the challan along with the photograph as a proof, right? So these deep learning algorithms has got tremendous application because they are capable of processing images, and that too in a real time sense. The another example you may consider as the autonomous vehicle, auto driven cars. Okay, what is it as a matter of fact? Okay, it is capturing the cameras and sensors are installed. It is capturing everything in a real time sense, and accordingly the vehicle is taking decisions. Okay, whether to move right or left, or if some obstruction is there, and it is not only it is taking all those decisions in a real time mode, right? So that is deep learning algorithm, right? So some DL algorithm is being executed. It is capturing the real time data through some sensors or cameras, and that algorithm is basically processing that data and accordingly taking certain decisions on those lines. So deep learning algorithms, the input is structured as well as unstructured. Okay, what about output? Only structured. That is, either it will recognize your face or it will say unable to recognize, 0 and 1. Okay, yes or no, right? Then we have the fourth phase of evolution of AI, is what they call it as generative AI. Okay, so what is generative AI? Generative AI is a small subset of AI. Okay, if you recall, the outermost layer is the AI, then you have machine learning, then you have deep learning, and then the innermost layer is what they call it as generative AI. So it is a small subset of AI, but if you look at the power of these Gen AI tool, okay, you will be surprised to know that what they can do for you. Okay, so these generative AI tool, which we refer to them as Gen AI tool, they are capable of creating new original content, completely new original content, which didn't exist before. So creativity, then we are talking about originality, right? And what kind of a stuff they can generate? They can generate text. Okay, that is, you can write or you can create a research article by using these tools. But whether it is correct, the answer is a big no. Okay, because if you are doing so, okay, definitely you are making some compromises on the ethical front. So ethically, it is not correct. Okay, and that's why some of you must be having your own reservation with regard to usage of these Gen AI tool, particularly for research. I do agree with you. That is, should not be used for that purpose. Okay, then how to use it, all those aspects, we'll have detailed discussion on those lines. But these tools are capable of creating new original content, such as images. So you must have heard a lot of controversies arising due to the, you can say, the um, people have started creating images of celebrities and high profile politicians, okay, using these Gen AI tool, okay, and people are making fun of it, okay, so which is actually not advisable, okay, but these tools are capable of doing so. They can create images, okay, then they are capable of creating or composing music for the songs. So you can provide the song structure, okay, or the text, and ask the tool to uh, compose a music for that particular song. They will do it within no time. Okay, and that is where the real treat is, right? That they feel that if the student will start using them, okay, it will create a lot of problem with regard to, you can say, the creativity and innovation, right? So which is dangerous for the, you can, particularly for the new generations. Okay, but these tools are there. Okay, in our country, as I said, we do not have any regulatory framework in place, neither by UGC nor by AICT or any other regulating agency. But the government is very serious about it. Okay, maybe few months down the line, okay, you will find some or the other guidelines in this regard for the usage of all these tools, for particularly for teaching and research or for some other research activity and so on. So this is what the Gen AI tool is. Now, what kind of a input? Now, as I said, every time our perspective would be from a end user. Okay. So what kind of an input you can provide to these generative AI tools? Let us have a look at. Okay. Now these tools can handle, okay, structured plus unstructured, or a combination of structured and unstructured. And what kind of a output they can give you? They can give you, once again, completely unstructured output. Okay, and that is the true power of these tools. And that is why we have numerous possibilities here. That is, you can write a prompt in any natural language, just like English, in the form of text, and ask the tool to generate an image for you. It will do that activity quite easily within no time. Okay, while we'll have some demonstration on these lines. Okay, wherein I'll show you that is how simple it is, or how easy it is to create an image. Okay, then the other way around, if you provide as an image as the input, okay, you can very well ask the tool to describe that particular image in the form of text. It will do it for you. Okay, then text to music. Okay, that is providing some sort of text, okay, or something written in natural language, asking the tool to compose a music for a particular song. Okay, that is again possible. Okay, and then the last one, that is, which is the most common aspect of this technology, is what we call it as the new normal nowadays, is the text to text. Okay, question answering sort of a thing, which is the very common feature of all these tools, right? So you ask anything, it will respond to all those queries, okay, within no time. So having said this, you have numerous possibilities using these GenAI tools, and that's why they are really powerful, and they are becoming, rather they are challenging some important attributes of human intelligence, like say innovation and creativity and so on. Right, now, having said this, the true power of these GenAI tool lies in multi-modal functionality. That is, you can give text plus image as the input. And what kind of output? Again, text plus image multimodal output. Okay, and that is why they are really powerful in terms of capabilities. Okay, the or the functionalities they can carry out for you. Now, none of these tools are available free of cost. Why? The reason is pretty simple. Their training cost is tremendously high. Okay, now this is the data which I have captured from Stanford University 2024 AI Index. Okay, which says the original transformer model, the training cost was $930. Okay, then GPT-3, it was 4.3 million US dollar, GPT-4, 78.4 million US dollar, Gemini Ultra, 191.4 million US dollar. Okay, and that is why none of these tools are available free of cost. Their beta version, what we call it as in general terminologies, we call them as um, beta version, or you may say demo version, right? They are available free of cost, but if you wish to use them to their fullest extent, okay, with all features and true power, okay, you need to go for a paid subscription. Okay, so none of these tools are available free of cost, okay, barring few exceptions. So we'll have some certain things wherein we will explore, you can say, the free and open source platform as well. Okay, wherein you can use some tools which are built on FOSS philosophy for your day-to-day routine activity. So if it has been built on FOSS philosophy, then definitely you need not have to pay any single pie for it. Okay. Now, let us try to, you can say, conclude whatever we have discussed up till now. Okay. So we started our journey with what they call it as the traditional AI, and then we moved into what they call it as the generative AI. Okay. So definitely it's better to compare where were we when we started in 1956 and where we are as on 2026. Okay. So that is the Gen AI, the era of generative AI, right? So we'll compare these two, that is traditional AI and generative AI, in terms of certain parameters. As you can see here, in case of, you can say, the traditional AI, the primary goal was recognition and classification. Recognizing something, okay, or classifying. Let's say if you are dealing with handwritten numerals, so you will classify all the numerals, whatever the user will provide, into 10 output classes, 0 to 9. Okay, so it is merely recognition and classification. All right. Whereas in case of generative AI, it is content creation and synthesis. Okay, now look at the difference. Okay, where were we and where we are as on 2026. Okay, 70 years, after 70 years. So you can create content. I'm talking about content creation and synthesizing those contents. We'll have some demonstration on those lines as well. What about the output type? Predetermined label. okay, or prediction. So traditional AI, they were capable of only predicting. Let's say you wish to predict the future value of a particular script in the share market. Okay. So definitely traditional AI is capable of doing so. Or let's say predicting rain in the, you can say the next few days. Okay, that is possible using traditional AI. But generative AI, you can create altogether new original content. Okay, new and original. Now these are the two attributes which needs some sort of, you can say, discussion. Okay, so your creativity, or you can say the originality or innovation, all those attributes are being challenged by these tools, right? What about the data usage? It analyzes data to find specific trends. I'm talking about traditional AI. What about generative AI? It learns from the data. Okay, it learns from the data. What about the interaction? In case of traditional AI, it was only one way from input to output. Whereas in case of generative AI, it is interactive and conversational. Okay, while demonstrating all these tools, okay, we'll have a look at this interactive and conversational abilities of generative AI. So many times you feel as if you are interacting with somebody sitting on the other side, and he or she is responding to your queries. So it is truly interactive and conversational. Okay, truly interactive and conversational. Now, having said this, there are some core components of these GenAI tools. Okay, the very first component is what they call it as the foundation model. ठीक है ना? So foundation models, what are foundation models or base model? The another name given to this foundation model is the base model. They are basically trained on massive diverse data set. Okay. Let's say you have built a Gen AI tool for a specific task. So what you will do, you will capture or you will gather the data set with regard to that problem domain. Okay. Fed that data set to that particular tool, train it. Okay. And then we may call that model as a base model or a foundation model for that particular activity. So the another name given to this foundation model in general terminology is what we call it as large language model, or LLM in short, right? So all these LLMs are specifically optimized to handle natural language. See, the real power of this large language model is their capability to handle anything written in natural language. Okay, if you recall the traditional AI, that is for using and developing traditional AI, we have to have some computing background, programming background, because you need to write down code, explicit code, okay, using some or the other high level language, like say Lisp or Prolog. So you need to know the structure and syntax of Prolog, Lisp for using all those tools. But those days are gone now. Okay, for using this large language model, you don't require any computing background. Okay, it is not needed to, you can say, know any programming language or any technical skill. What is needed is merely expressing your job in some or the other natural language. Now, there are tools available wherein some local language support is again there. Like say, you may interact with those tools either in Hindi or Marathi. That is again possible. Okay, and what they can do for you, they are capable of writing or creating stuff altogether new and original. Translation capabilities, that is translating something written in English to any other foreign or Indian language. Okay, and summarization. Okay, that is the power of these foundation models, right? Foundation model, which are commonly called as large language models, right? Large language model, LLM in short. But what is an LLM? What is LLM? Okay, so LLM is nothing but a neural network. Now you can connect the dot. Okay, and that's why we have discussed neural networks in at length. So all these large language models, they are nothing but the neural networks. And what kind of a neural networks? The neural networks which are trained to predict the next word in an input sequence. Okay, So they have got that predictive power, that is, they can detect the next word in an input sequence, right? So that is large language model, right? Now, having said this, as I said, that is what is LLM? It is nothing but a neural network that is trained to predict the next term in an input sequence. Say, for example, if I give all that glitters as the input, then the tool will come up is not gold as the answer. And I hope all of you will appreciate that this will require some sort of, you can say, AI capabilities. Okay, it is not that easy. Okay, so how the tool is carrying out this? Okay, definitely it is using some or the other, you can say, the neural network approach for addressing that problem and predicting the next word in an input sequence. So predictive capabilities, okay, that are being used in all these large language models. Second important component is what they call it as the transformer. So transformers basically क्या होते हैं? Transformers are the models, okay, which has got built-in attention mechanism. Okay, and what for that attention mechanism is being used? It is used for understanding the context in which the prompt has been written, right? So all these tools, the another important component is the transformer. Okay, so transformers are capable of, let's see, whatever you type, how do you interact with these tools? You write something in the form of English-like statement. Okay, so the tools are capable of understanding the words, sentences, and they go one step beyond. That is, they are capable of understanding the context in which that prompt has been written. Okay, so that they can produce some sort of relevant and coherent response, right? So that is the role of a transformer. So this is the second important component. Then we have training and fine tuning. Okay, so you need to carry out many times, see all these LLMs, they are all pre-trained model. Okay, they are all pre-trained model. Okay, so they don't know about you or yourself, right, or your organization. Okay, and that's why you get similar kind of stuff being generated by all these tools when you interact with them using the same prompt. Okay, because they are not aware who is using. Okay, it is not customized. Okay, so many times you need to fine tune them, okay, or retrain them. Okay, so that is what they call it as training and fine tuning. Okay, with your own organizational or personal data. Okay, that can be done quite easily, right? Then we have various, you can say, popular Gen AI model. Okay, wherein you have one of the most popular series is what they call it as the GPT series, wherein you have various GPT models which is produced by OpenAI. Okay, so OpenAI has built hundreds of models, and all these models has got some conversational abilities. Okay, they are capable of demonstrating conversational ability. So while interacting with these tools, many times you realize as if you are interacting with some person sitting on the other side. Okay, that is all about this GPT. Then we have Dale Mid Journey, okay, which has got some sort of creative abilities. So conversational, then creative AI, that is why they are referred to as creative AI. Okay, then we do have various things from other, you can say, companies like say IBM, okay, wherein you have IBM Granite, okay. So that is the another series of tools. Then you have Cloud and Gemini, right, which are referred to as next gen tools. Okay, next gen tools. They can do lot many things for you, right? But all these Gen AI tools suffers from one common problem. And what is that problem? That problem is black box problem. Okay, that problem is referred to as black box problem. So what is a black box problem? Okay. So let me elaborate further. Okay, this is very important phenomena, and that is one of the biggest drawback of all these large language models. Okay, or LLM in short, right? So if while explaining LLM, okay, I've told you that is you give some or the other input to the LLM, and like say all that glitters, and it will give you some or the other answer like is not gold. Okay, so it will be processed by the tool. Okay, so we have a box. Okay, let's assume that this is a box. Okay, this is the input you are providing and this is the output you have got. But nobody in the world knows that is how this tool has arrived at this particular answer. What is the justification? Nobody can justify that. Let's say if you are using GPT, okay, and if you approach the OpenAI people, okay, and let us assume that OpenAI people, they connect you to the development team and you ask them the same question. Okay, bhai, whatever input I give, just justify me how this tool has arrived at this particular answer. Okay, they will say sorry. Okay, they will not be in a position to justify. Why? The reason is pretty simple. The complexity, the number of layers, okay, and the number of neurons in each layer is so high that nobody in the world can justify you how a particular tool has arrived at a particular answer. And this phenomena is called as black box problem. Is called as black box problem, right? Okay. So no. What is the solution? Okay. So all the GenAI tools, they suffers from this phenomenon or this drawback. That is what they call it as black box problem. So the solution is converting this black box into a transparent box. Okay. Converting this black box into a transparent box, or what they call it as adding some explainability component to an existing tool. What they call it as XAI. Okay, that explainable part is considered as capital X. Okay, XAI, that is explainable AI. Or converting those things into what they call it as the another term which is being used many times is what they call it as a responsible AI. Okay, why I'm saying responsible AI? Because let's say if you are using this tool for medical diagnosis, okay, the tool has diagnosed that the person is suffering from cancer and you started treating the patient on those lines. Okay, later on what has happened again, due to some or the other reason, you have carried out some test, and the result of that test was that the person was not suffering from cancer but some XYZ disease. Now to whom you will held responsible for that? Whether you will held responsible the medical practitioner, or let's say if he is using some OpenAI product or IBM product. Okay, so whether you will held IBM people or you will held responsible the development team who has developed that particular tool. So this way there are a lot of legal aspect of it. Okay, so the idea is that is how to you can use this AI, okay, responsibly. Okay, so there are very many things involved, right? So let me conclude as far as this black box is concerned. The idea is to simply convert that black box into a transparent box so that you can see through and you can very well justify how a tool has arrived at a particular answer. Now, having said this, what are the use cases, particularly now let us come back to the foundation is almost over. Okay, let us come back to what are the use cases for education and academic, right? Or academic and research, you may say. Okay. So as far as the education or academic aspects are concerned, you can generate, or rather you can build, or you can create applications like you can say for auto generating lesson plan, quizzes, and providing a smart tutoring system or intelligent tutoring system using these Gen AI tools. Okay, I'll show you if time permits. Okay, there's a product called Google Anti-Gravity, okay, which is a product from Google itself. Okay, so that Google Anti-Gravity has got tremendous potential. Okay, you write a prompt in English asking the tool to generate an application for auto-generating lesson plan, creating quizzes, and providing smart tutoring system. It will do it within 5 to 7 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, not more than that. Okay, it will build one complete application for all that activity. So what I'm trying to emphasize is these tools are really powerful. Okay, they are in true sense they are powerful. They can do lot many things that too quite easily. Okay. Then what about research? You may use these tools, GenAI tools, for carrying out research, but there are certain conditions which one has to keep in mind. Okay. What are all those conditions? Let's say you may use them for summarizing dense research paper. Okay, on those lines, I will show you one important tool, what they call it as elicit, okay, which is typically used for analyzing or synthesizing research paper. Okay, we'll have demonstration in the second part of the session. Okay, but one should not use it for generation of ideas. Okay, let's say what I'm doing, I'm uploading some 10 or 20 odd papers and asking the tool to generate the 21st paper based on all those 20 papers. Okay, the tools are capable of doing so. But if you are doing so, you are making some compromises on the ethical front, which is highly dangerous. Okay, one should not use it for that purpose. Because let's say you can generate, and then when you submit that article for publication to some publishing house, and when they put that article for the flag check, what will happen? Okay, that flag check is nowadays becoming equally competent to detect whether it has been written by some human being or it is a product of some GenAI. So it will be categorized as AI generated stuff. Okay, and it will increase your you can say flag or the similarity index. Okay, and definitely you will not be in a position to get that paper published. Okay, in a reputed journal. Right. So definitely let's say if you are using Turnitin or Authenticate for checking plagiarism, so all those tools are becoming equally competent to identify the stuff generated by these AI. Okay. So that's why one should avoid. You can use it, okay, uh, for only those activities which have been specified in the guidelines of all those publishing houses. Right. Leave apart this education and research. Okay, now you name the area. Okay, say for example, for marketing, healthcare, finance. Okay, only three things I have jotted down here. But you name the area, you can use these tools for all those activities. Okay, so any area, any damn area, okay, you will find some or the other tool is there, right? So this technology is growing with a jet speed. Okay, as I've told you, that is how things are moving and so on. Okay, let us try to understand what are the key characteristics of these large language model. As I said, that is, we'll have some demonstration of certain large language model, okay, in the second part of the session. So being a user, we need to understand, that is, what are the key characteristics of these LLMs. Okay, so there are two peculiar characteristics of these large language model. The very first one is what they call it as the text understanding. So these LLMs understand something written in natural language, okay, that is English or any other for that purpose, through advanced algorithm, okay, which are capable of processing words, sentence, and the context. Okay, you can give word. Okay, what the sentences are comprised of words. Okay, and when you club uh, numerous sentences, you may call it as a paragraph or so on, right? And these tools are capable of understanding those words and sentences. Okay, but they don't stop there. Okay, they are capable of understanding the context in which that prompt has been crafted. And I hope all of you will appreciate that definitely requires some sort of AI capability, right? AI capability, right? So text understanding, okay, then what do they do next? Okay, they are capable of generating the text. So text generation, but how do they generate the text? Okay, so these LLMs generate, and what kind of a text they generate? They generate coherent and contextually relevant text based on the input queries. Okay. So definitely, I hope all of you will appreciate that this definitely requires some sort of intelligence. It is not that easy, but these tools are capable of doing so. Okay. So they are capable of text understanding and text generation. And what kind of a text they are capable of generating? Coherent and contextually relevant. So you will not get irrelevant text generated by these things. Okay. Now, how do these LLM basically works? So there are 5 steps. So being a user, okay, we must be well acquainted with these things. Okay. So the very first step is what they call it as the tokenization. Okay, let me give one simple example for this tokenization. Okay, in a single statement, okay, you have used roughly say 20 odd words. Then for simplicity, you can assume that each word is one token. So minimum you will have, let's say 20 words are there in a prompt. So you will have 20 tokens. Okay, minimum. But the things are not that simple. As a matter of fact, okay, if you put ing or es in a particular word, it will be considered as another token. Okay, because it changes the context. Okay, and that is why the number of tokens are always more than the number of words. So if in a prompt, if you have used 25 words, then it may have 30 tokens or 28 tokens, right? But for simplicity, each word you may consider as one token, right? That is the very first step. Now, once you have token in your hand, what do? We try to convert those tokens into numerical vectors. Why this is needed? Because it's not possible to process those words directly. Okay, so we have to have numbers. Then and then you can give those things as the input to those algorithms or the large language models. So the second step is embedding, converting those words into numbers or numerical vectors. Then what next? The third step is self-attention. So the model assesses which parts of the text are most important for understanding. Just like you and I, we are capable of identifying what is important while crafting answers for a particular query. On the similar line, these tools are capable of self-attention, right? And then the fourth step is they are capable of predicting the next word in the input sequence. So predictive capabilities are again there. Prediction. That is, these model, they predict the next word or token based on the context provided by the input text, right? And then at the end, the last step is what they call it as the response generation. So these models generates response by predicting the you can and stringing together relevant words in a coherent manner. So if you recall, that is what is the objective of any large language model. That is, they are capable of generating text. But what kind of a text? Coherent and relevant text based on the input queries, right? So these are the 5 critical steps in which all the large language model works, right? Now, having said this, there are now we are left with what? Okay, we are left with only one thing, that is how to interact with these tools. So as I said, you can interact with these tools using or by writing prompts. So what are all prompts? Okay, what is prompt and what is prompt engineering? That is what we'll just try to go through with again in very nutshell. Okay, not more than 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, but this we need to understand. Okay, so while discussing AI engineering, okay, I've talked about that there are 3 different aspects. One is the prompt engineering, second is the context engineering, and the third one is the harness engineering. Okay, so what is prompt engineering? It talks about how to write a precise and concise prompt so as to get the relevant response generated by the tool. So it is an art or it is an engineering technique. Okay, and there are certain things, being a user, you need to know about how to write a prompt, and that is what we are going to discuss in this particular section. So while interacting with any of these tools, okay, if you don't give any example, okay, that is called as zero shot prompting. So what is zero shot prompting? Wherein, and this is how we interact with these tools, okay, whenever you are interacting for the very first time, Okay. So you ask a direct question, that is, what is this, or explain this, or what is that, and so on, or give me the history of some, or explain this XYZ phenomena. Okay. So wherein you don't give any example, that is called as zero shot prompting. So if you do so, what will happen? You will get some generic response generated by the tool, and many times you get disappointed. Okay, you feel, oh, it is of no use, right? It is of no use, right? So you get very generic response, and then you many times you feel, oh, these tools are just another Google search sort of a thing. Okay, but the idea is you are not interacting with these tools in an appropriate manner. Okay. So if you are not giving an example, it is bit difficult for the tool to understand your context. Okay. Now let's say if you give one example and then you write the same prompt, whatever you have used in case of zero shot prompting, what I am doing, I am giving one example. Let me elaborate further on these aspects. Okay, let's say we are I am into manufacturing of two-wheeler motorcycle. Okay, and I wish to launch my product. This is a festive season going on. Okay, and I wish to launch my product, for which I wish to launch a marketing campaign, and I am trying to generate a tagline for my product. Okay, so if I don't give any example, okay, definitely I will get generic response, very big tagline generated by the tool. If I give my one example of my competitor, like say, let's say my competitor is Hero Honda, okay, and their tagline is, let's say, fill it, forget it. If I provide this as an example, okay, what the tool will do, it will analyze this example. Okay, it will come to know, well, the user want not more than 4 words. Each word must represent some or the other USP of that particular product, like say fuel efficiency and so on and so forth, right? Now it will generate a prompt, what exactly I am expecting from that tool. Okay, so it helps a lot for the tool to understand what exactly you want, right? So this way, if you give one example, it is called as one shot prompting. Okay, it is called as one shot prompting. If you provide more than one example, okay, that is two or three, it is called as few shot prompting. Okay, it is possible to give more than one example. So zero shot, wherein you are not giving any example. One shot, wherein you are providing one example. Okay, few shot, wherein you are providing more than one example, like say two or three. Okay, so one shot and few shot prompting. Okay, so definitely you will get more tailored response generated by when you provide more number of examples, like say two or three. Okay, then we have role prompting. Okay, what they call it as role or persona. So you can assign a role or persona to any of these GenAI tool. You may say, कि भाई assume you are a vice chancellor or director of All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Okay, or the vice chancellor of Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, or vice chancellor of any XYZ university. Now the tool very well understand what are the roles and responsibility of a vice chancellor. Okay, or you may say, कि भाई assume you are a research assistant. Okay, so you can assign any role or persona to these tools and then ask them to carry out some activity. So they will give you more tailored responses generated by, right? So while crafting prompts, ideally, it is expected that you should start with a role, then task, then you may say instruction and data. So these are the four components, and they has to be in this particular order only. That is role, task, instruction, and data, or in short, you may call them as RTID. Okay. Now again, I am not saying that all the components are essentially needed. None of them they are mandatory. But let's say if you want to write a very scientific prompt, okay, you have to follow this particular sequence. That is role, then task, then you may say instruction and data. Right. So this RTID is the appropriate sequence. Okay. So role prompting, I think I have explained, okay, at length. Let's move further. Then we have chain of thought prompting, wherein you can, you may say, uh, this basically involves breaking down a big task into a number of smaller logical steps and feeding all those things one after another. Okay. So wherein the AI will reason through it one after another, and then you will get some appropriate response generated by it. Okay. So that is COT. Then meta prompting, wherein you can ask the tool to generate prompts for you. That is again possible, but this requires more expert level of reasoning and sophisticated responses. It is not that easy to assign the task of prompt generation to any AI tool, right? Then we have tree of thought, wherein you can ask the AI to explore multiple possible reasoning paths simultaneously. Let's say I wish to visit from my place to Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar. Then there are 4 or 5 possible routes. So it will explore all those 4 or 5 possible routes, and it will give me the most optimal route, okay, in terms of toll, traffic condition, road condition, and so on. Right. So that is called as tree of thought, wherein it will explore multiple possible solutions. It will give you the most optimal solution to that particular problem. Then we have prompt chaining, which basically involves linking multiple prompts together in a sequence, one after another. Okay. So that is another technique. Okay. Now there are few parameters which, being a user, we must be well acquainted with. Okay. Many times we are not aware about these parameters, and that's why many times we feel that these tools are not doing their job in the manner in which it is expected. Okay. So the very first parameter, I'll definitely show you, that is how to set all these parameters in the second part of the demonstration. Okay. The very first parameter is temperature. The value of this temperature is between 0 to 1. Lower the value, lower the creativity, lower the randomness. Higher the value, higher the creativity, and higher the randomness. So if it is set to 0.0, you will get more generated by the tool. Right. So if you make it 0.99 or 1.0, right, you will get more creative and more random responses generated. So this temperature is very crucial. Okay. So so you need to know and you need to set it appropriately. Okay. Then the second important parameter is the max token. So what is max token? Max token is which defines the length of the response. Okay. Whether you wish to generate a response of a specified word limit, okay, you can do so by setting this max token. Okay. Then we have what they call it as top P, which is referred to as, so this setting basically determines how many potential words. Let's say I wish to generate a response of 200 words only. I wish to generate an abstract for my research article wherein the word limit is 200 or 150 words. So if I set this top P nucleus sampling to 150 or 200, okay, it will generate the response, okay, within that limit only. Then frequency penalty and present penalty. Many times you observe that while these tools, they are generating the response, okay, certain things are being repeated again and again. Right. So if you wish to avoid that redundancy, okay, you can set this frequency penalty and presence penalty appropriately. Okay, so that you will not have all those things repeated. Okay, or redundant stuff will be avoided. Okay. Now, does this mean that the LLMs are the end of the story? Okay, generative AI tools is the end of the story. Okay, the answer is a big no. Okay, all these Gen AI tools, they suffers from numerous problems. Okay, some of the problems I have jotted down here. Right. What are all those problems? The very first problem is what they call it as hallucination. Hallucination. Okay, that is all these tools, they will give you some or the other answer. Many times some wrong answers are again possible. So it will answer a query that it doesn't know. Even if It is not, it doesn't know the answer, but it will give you some or the other answer. You will not have no match kind of a scenario. Repeatedly, I am telling you, right? So it will give you, just like we are all from academics, while conducting Viva's examination, your student, they don't know the answer, but they give you some or the other answer. Okay, they try to attempt it. Okay, by giving some wrong answer. Okay, definitely. Then bias is the another issue. Knowledge cutoff is there. Okay, that is, all these are pre-trained model. So the training has been carried out, let's say in December 2025. Then the tool doesn't know what has happened from 1st January 2026 to 25th of August 2026. Okay, so that is knowledge cutoff. Okay, then it doesn't know about you or your organization. So you need to train it with your own or personal data, or maybe your organizational data, so that the tool will get acquainted with who you are and what your organization is doing. Okay, then another important aspect is the training cost is high. Okay, training cost is high, meaning thereby this we talked at length. Okay, normally see, it is not possible to train all these models on CPUs. Okay, you require GPUs, and that too not in one GPU or two GPU, right? In hundreds or thousands. Okay, it all depends what kind of problem you are dealing with. So definitely, in terms of training, okay, the training cost is tremendously high. Then they suffers from latency. You ask something and then it will say analyzing, thinking, processing, and then it will give you some or the other answer. So there are delays, time delays, which we call it as technically latency. Okay, technically latency. That is the time taken to give and to get an output. Okay. Then they come, all these GenAI tools, they come with a predefined token limit of 1 million token per chat. So it is not possible to cross this 1 million barriers. Okay. So that is by default. Now, how to address all these problems? Okay. So we have an engineering approach, what they call it as a retrieval augmented generation, or in short, it is referred to as RAG. So let's see what is RAG. Okay, let's see what is RAG. So in RAG, what do? We download the pre-trained model. Okay, retrain it or fine tune it with our own personal organizational data, and then we adapt it for our own usage. Okay. So that we will not have all these problems, whatever we have talked about, right? Whatever we have talked about, right? Now, for doing so, what you need to do is you need to retrain it or fine tune that model by providing your own personal data or organizational data, whatever is the case, right? Maybe. So now again, that data may be huge in terms of volume. Okay. So it's not possible to feed the entire data, entire file of some GBs, okay, to the tool for further processing. So what we need to do is we need to divide that file or the data into small chunk. Okay, and that is what we call it as chunking. Chunking meaning thereby now you can decide upon any value. Okay, that is normally in terms of tokens. Okay, let's say the chunk size you have decided as 500 tokens. Okay, so 1 to 500, one token, one chunk, then 501 to next 500, that is 1000 next chunk, then 1001 to 1500 and so on. But again, that is not enough. Okay, that is not enough. Many times we need to do what they call it as chunk overlapping. So what is chunk overlapping? Chunk overlapping is something like, you can say, instead of starting the token from 501 to next 500, okay, we start it from 451. That is 50 token earlier. Usually, it is 10% of the chunk size. Usually, there is no hard-coded rule, but usually it is something like that. So you may start it from 450. Why do we do so? The reason is pretty simple. That is to keep connectivity between two chunks. So how chunk 1 is connected with chunk 2, so as to establish that connectivity, we need to go for what they call it as chunk overlapping. Okay, now once you are done with these two, okay, next we go for embedding. Okay, which now here onwards, the rest of these steps are very common, what we have discussed with regard to the you can say the activities we carry out in you can say the large language model. Okay, 5 steps, if you recall, that is third step is probably embedding. Okay, so that is converting those words into numerical vectors for further processing. So it is not possible to directly fed all those words. Okay, we have to have numbers. Then and then we can process it with some computer algorithm. Right. So embedding is essentially needed. Then we generate a vector database and then we deploy some or the other similarity search, wherein you have various possibilities. That is, you may go ahead with Euclidean distance or cosine search and so on and so forth. So having said this, let me give you a very simple analogy, okay, which will probably clear your idea about you can say LLM and RAG. So LLM, okay, if you recall, okay, LLM, I said you have these many problems. So LLM you may consider as something very similar to a conventional kind of a examination system. Right? Conventional examination system, what is the approach? Okay, you carry out training or you impart, you can say instruction to students, okay, till the beginning of that examination. Moment the student enter into the examination hall, he or she is not allowed to carry any learning material with him or her. Okay, that is objectionable. I'm talking about conventional examination. So that is very similar to your large language model. Okay, wherein up to whatever limit you have carried out the training, okay, till that point, okay, everything is permissible. But once the training is over, and then you ask something or other to that particular large language model, okay, the tool can utilize the data, whatever it has utilized during training only. Okay. So conventional examination, you don't allow student to use any learning material or for crafting the answer in the examination hall. But RAG is very similar to an open book kind of examination, wherein you allow the student to carry n number of, you can say, learning materials with them. Okay, they may carry 10, 20, 30, 100, 200 odd books with them. Okay, or anything for that purpose. And they are allowed to refer all those materials while crafting the answer in the examination hall. So definitely they will give more appropriate answers, okay, more tailored responses, and all those issues will be biased, and all those things will be, you can say, addressed by this approach, RAG approach, right? So RAG is very similar to an open book kind of a examination. Having said this, this is how it looks like. That is retrieval generation proof. The user will fire the query, it goes to the retriever. It won't find the answer over there. It goes to the knowledge base which you have created using RAG approach. And then the desired stuff will be extracted. It is given back to the retriever, from where again it is given to the user as the response. Okay. So RAG has got tremendous, you can say, features. Okay. So it addresses all the problems associated with a large language model. Okay. So lookup before speaking, you may say domain accuracy will improve. It is capable of dealing with real world deployment, and they are highly flexible. Okay, allowing teams to swap models to update data as technology evolves and so on. It reduces the hallucination. Okay, I'm not saying that it will be completely removed. Hallucination will be there, but since you are grounding it with the latest, okay, some say the student is carrying some research paper in the examination hall, latest research paper which has been published, let's say today is 25th August, and something has appeared in 24th August. So that knowledge is carrying with him. And let's say if something with regard to that is there in the question paper, so he can very well utilize that material and respond to. So grounding is the concept. This I will show you with Google AI Studio. That is how you can. It's pretty simple. These features are very easy to handle. Okay, simply there is a button which you need to set it on or off, okay, by grounding. Okay, then transparency and explainability. I think we have talked about all those things. Future proof architecture is there. So this is a typical RAG standard. Okay, now how to use these tools for you can say research. Okay, now all these tools, okay, it is not possible to use them for generation of ideas. However, if you are you can say worried about that is in what way they should be used, okay, what you need to do is you need to simply refer to the you can say the stuff provided by various publishing houses on their official page. Okay, let's say I wish to publish something on the Springer nature, simply go to the Springer website and then go through the way in which the Springer is handling, okay, that particular activity, okay, and up to what extent they are allowing. Say, for example, I'm from engineering background, so we have IEEE mandates wherein they allow you to use these tools only for editing and grammar errors, not for anything else, right? Then for education, you may use it. Okay, there is nothing wrong. Okay, student assessment, you can very well use. There are numerous tools available. And then teaching learning, there is no problem. But research, all those conditions will apply. So this slide will give you an idea. Okay, with some of these tools we will discuss in the second session. Okay, like say consensus, illicit, sky space, okay, research rabbit, and so on. Okay, so thank you. So I am almost done with the first part of the session. Okay, we will start with the second session, but just give me a 5 minutes break. Okay, 5 minutes break. All right. But my humble request would be please don't go away. Okay, be remain in the meeting. Okay, because if you leave and again join, okay, it will definitely consume certain amount of time. So, but before that, let's say if you have got any specific queries, okay, I'll be happy to answer. Human intelligence is the mental power. Now I'm going through it, right? Anyway, so I don't know whether you uh, enjoy the right to unmute yourself, but I think as sir has said, okay. But if you have anything in the anything you wish to ask, okay, you can put all those things by that time in the chat box. Okay, so I'll be back within 5 minutes. It's 16:10 right now. Okay, so 16:15, that is 4:15 we'll start the session. Okay, so we'll break for tea. Okay, allow me to take a small cup of tea. You can also enjoy, and then we'll continue the second part of the session. Dear participant, welcome back. I hope I am loud and clear. You can hear me. Okay. So I think we have started our journey from AI. Okay, then we moved into that is traditional AI to what they call it as machine learning. Okay, so traditional AI basically it follows certain rules. Okay, like say playing chess and so on. Okay, machine learning wherein we build a model that can predict. All right. Say for example, if you wish to predict whether there will be rain tomorrow or not, right? That can be carried. That kind of activity can be carried out using machine learning, and deep learning, wherein you can deal with images as the input. Okay, you can very well deal with images kind of data as the input. Okay, so deep learning algorithms are nothing but the machine learning algorithms, but the number of layers are quite large. Okay, that's only different. Then we have generative AI. Okay, so in generative AI, wherein you can create new content, okay, based on the data. Okay, uh, say for example, you can create image generation is possible, then music generation is possible, and the text generation, which is the most common one. Okay, then we have also discussed what they call it as predictive AI, which is mostly used for prediction and classification. All right, then we'll have some discussion on AI agents as well. So what are AI agents? Basically, AI agents are basically created for workflow automation. Okay, so we will definitely have something on those lines. Okay, but for research, once again, we'll have certain discussions on with regard to certain tools like say illicit, consensus, and so on. Right. So having said this, let me begin my deliberation with very, you can say, important tool. Okay, I don't know whether maybe some of you must be using it. Okay, but we'll start with a very basic tool, what they call it as the notebook LM, right? Notebook LM, right? And then we'll move to some tools on research front as well, wherein we will discuss what they call it as the illicit and so on, right? So with this note, just I don't know whether my entire screen is visible to you right now. Okay, I'm sharing my entire screen. Okay, so I hope my entire screen is visible to you. Somebody has to confirm. 117 present, sir. I'm not taking your attendance. Okay. Anyway, whether my entire screen is visible to you, dear participant? Somebody has to confirm in the chat box. Okay, because I very well know that you are not in a position to unmute yourself, but yeah. Okay, so 1621, somebody said yes. Okay, so I presume that my entire screen is visible to you, and we will go ahead with the demonstration on few of these tools. Okay, so let us begin our journey with a very basic tool, what they call it as the notebook LM or Gemini notebook. Okay, now this tool is completely free. Okay, and you can use these tools for teaching, learning, research, and there are very many things which you can use it for. Okay, so let me show you that is how this tool basically functions. Okay. So for using this tool, you don't require anything other than your Gmail ID. Okay. So simply log in through your Gmail account. Right now, I'm showing you my personal Gmail account. Okay, go to these 9 dots, that is Google Apps. Okay, go to these 9 dots, Google Apps. Simply scroll down, and somewhere at the bottom, okay, you will find this Notebook LM. Now, why I'm considering this tool as the very first tool? Because this is completely free and this is provided by Google. Okay, and as on date, it is completely free. Okay, and you can do lot many things using this Notebook LM. So let us try to have a look at it. Okay, that is Notebook LM. Okay, or Gemini Notebook. Okay, Google has renamed it during past few days. Okay, they are calling it as now Gemini Notebook because the model which is being used at the backend is the Gemini, right? So as I said, for using this tool, you need to simply log in. Okay, log in through your Gmail account. Okay, and scroll down these Google Apps. Okay, and somewhere at the bottom you will find Notebook LM. As I said, it has been renamed as Gemini Notebook. Okay, it has been renamed as Gemini Notebook. I hope I am loud and clear. You can hear me, and I presume that my screen is again visible to you. Okay, now let us see. Your objective is to create a new notebook. Now this tool is fantastic. Okay, it has got lot of features. Okay, and you can adapt to this particular tool quite easily, even if you are not from computer science. Okay, it will not create any issues for you, right? So let's see what is there in this particular tool. Okay, all right. So dear participant, let's say you wish to create a new notebook. So you can create it either clicking on this create new, or somewhere here, if you scroll down, you will find this create new notebook tab. Okay. So simply click on this. Okay. And something like this will appear on your screen. Okay. Now being a user, okay, uh, what is expected is you need to specify the sources from where you wish to create the notebook. Okay. From where you wish to create the notebook. Okay. Right. So the left hand panel, okay, it shows that add sources. Okay, so simply click on this add sources. Okay, simply click on this add sources. Moment you click on add sources, you will find something like this on the screen. Okay, so what is there in this screen? As you can see, okay, you need to specify the sources. Now the sources can be specified in numerous ways. Let's say you have already downloaded certain research paper, okay, which you wish to create, or rather which you wish to use for creating the notebook. You have this upload file button. Okay, or otherwise, let's say if you wish to extract certain stuff from YouTube or some other website, you have this stuff. Okay, then there is another option. Let's say if something is lying on your Google Drive, you may use this drive option. Okay, you may use this drive option. Okay, then let's say something which you have copied on your clipboard and you wish to paste it. So you have a copied text button here. Okay, copied text button. So you can copy and paste it, or you can drag and drop files here. Now, what are the various file types supported by this particular tool? This is there. Okay, so you can upload any PDF, images, doc, audio with files having these many extension. Okay, say JPEG, JPG, JPE, okay, WebP, PNG, TIFF, TIFF, okay, HEIF, and so on. All those files are basically supported. Almost all, you can say. Let's say I am not interested in any of these options. I wish to search on the web. So you can go for AI in, let's say, marketing, okay, or let's say customer relationship management, CRM. Okay, okay. AI in CRM Indian scenario. Okay, this is the topic which I'm giving. Now, you can go ahead with either fast search. Okay, fast search will definitely consume less amount of time. Or let's say if you are interested in carrying out some deep search, so you can go ahead with this deep search option. Okay, right now, so as to save the time, I am saying fast search and simply hit this blue arrow. Okay, so what will happen? It will capture some sources. Okay, so what has happened, as you can see here? Okay, AI CRM software, best AI CRM for Indian business. Okay, it's because we have given Indian context, something like that. Our objective was to search with regard to what is happening in our country. Okay, so Salesforce doubles down on so around 10 odd sources it has jot down for you. Okay, so what is your role? Your role is very crucial here. Okay, it is expected that you should go through all these sources one after another. Okay, I've said view. Okay, then all those sources can be verified. Okay, so you can look at any of these source. Okay, if you feel that it is not good, okay, you may exclude that particular source by simply deselecting that particular source. Okay, right now I'm considering all the 10 sources. Okay, now this way you can add as many as 50 odd sources, 50. Okay, right now what I'm doing, I'm saying import. Okay, now I have selected all the 10 sources. I am satisfied with the you can say all the sources, and simply I wish to create a notebook out of it. So simply say import. Okay, moment you click on import, okay, it will capture all those sources, all those 10 sources. Okay, and it will create a notebook out of it. Notebook will be created with some appropriate title will be given by the tool itself. Okay, and it will craft a notebook for you. Okay, but while extracting these sources, you need to note one important aspect, that is it will not capture something which is there in some controlled environment. Okay, wherein you require some login ID and password. Okay, some credentials are being needed. Okay, it will not capture all those sources. For example, out of those 10 odd sources, okay, some I symbol is here. Okay, so which you can very well see. Okay, wherein you have you can say this unable to import this web page because it may be in a controlled environment wherein you need to, let's say if some paper is there on IEEE Explore, so you have to have a IEEE Explore account, then and then you can download it. So on the similar line, it will access only those sources which are available in open access environment. Okay, open access environment. Okay, it will not capture the sources which are in a closed or controlled kind of an environment. Then what has happened? It has created a notebook, and this is the title which the tool has assigned. That is 2026 Guide to AI CRM for Indian Businesses. Okay. Now this central panel is for chat functionality. Okay. Now you can chat with all these 10 sources by asking various queries. Certain things it has generated on its own. Okay. These are the suggested queries. Okay. Based on the sources. Say, how do AI native features differ from traditional manual CRM tools? Okay, so let's say if you wish to do so, simply click on that. Okay, it will say checking the scope and then scanning your sources, and then it will come out with the, you can say, the appropriate answer. Okay, now this is latency, whatever I was referring to. It will ask you to wait for certain amount of time. Okay, all right. Now the AI has generated certain stuff. Okay, AI native CRM, traditional CRM, follow up and engagement suite, AI native CRM, and then so on. Whatever is the question we have asked. Or let's say if you wish to ask anything other than this, okay, you may type all those stuff here, right? It will generate output for you. Okay. Then on the right hand side we have got what they call it as the studio functionality, wherein you have very many things. So what are all those things? The very first is you can create an audio, okay, that too an audio overview, that too in these many Indian languages, like say Hindi, Marathi. Again, Marathi is there. We are all from Maharashtra. Okay, so then Gujarati, Bengali, some Southern Indian languages are again there. So you can create an audio overview using these many. Now you may ask, sir, what is the use of this audio overview? So it will be a conversational audio, okay, based on these 10 sources, okay, so which will help a lot in understanding that particular concept or subject, whatever you wish to, right? So that can be downloaded, and later on you may share it with your student community. Okay, you may you can say uh, for your own purpose you can download it, okay, whatever you feel like. So you have a share button and so on. Apart from that, you can create a video, explainer video, that is again possible. So audio can be created. Again, moment you click on audio, you have got these many varieties, okay, these many templates are there. You can create a deep dive, okay, brief, critique, debate, and so on. Let's say I'm selecting this deep dive and then simply say generate. So it will create a audio for me, okay, conversational audio, which is very similar to a podcast wherein one person will be asking the question and another will be responding to those queries. Okay, what else you can do? You can create a mind map. Let's say you wish to create a mind map, simply say generate. Okay, so a mind map will be created. Then for assessment, again, there are very many things like, say, you can create a flashcard exercise by simply looking at this flashcard, okay, wherein you can set the difficulty level, how many questions you want, fewer, more, what about the difficulty level, how many sources you wish to utilize, okay, if you want to specify any topic, okay, comparison mechanism, all those things can be carried out here, Indian requirement and so on, and then simply say generate. So it will generate a flashcard exercise. Then you can create a quiz also. Okay, quiz can be created again the same manner in which we have gone for this flashcard. Okay, so quizzes again can be generated based on your understanding. Okay, like say easy, hard, medium, and so on. Then say generate. Okay, then it is possible to create an infographic based on 10 sources or 8 sources, whatever sources it has identified. So for that, you can click on this infographic. Okay. Again, there are various templates. Okay. Then simply say generate. Okay. It will create an infographic. Many times we need to compare all the 10 or 8 sources. Okay. Based on some, you can say parameters. Okay. That is what we do in case of literature review. Okay. So that is possible using this data table. So simply click on this data table. Okay. Based on 10 sources, what it will do, it will carry out a comparative analysis of all the 10 sources in terms of certain parameters. Okay. So let's see what has been generated. Okay. So you have a CRM mind map. Okay. Which is now ready for you. Okay. So this is the CRM mind map. Okay, this is quite helpful in teaching, learning, and research. Okay, particularly learning student perspective. This is very important. Now you can share it with your student community by simply clicking on this share button. Right. Now this is one thing. Right. Then what has happened? This quiz is again ready. Okay, quiz is again ready. How many questions it has generated? It has generated around 10 odd questions, okay, with multiple choice answers and a hint and so on. So you can go to the next question, and so on, and you may share it with your student community directly. You can launch that quiz. Okay, so that is again ready. Let's see what is there in the data table. Now that is again ready. So AI CRM platform versus something. So it has identified certain parameters. Okay, and all those parameters have been listed out here, right? Have been listed out here, right? So along with the references and all. So definitely it will help a lot in carrying out some sort of literature survey, okay, wherein normally this comparison is needed. So you may use it for teaching, learning, and research, as I said. Okay, then this is the mind map, which is ready. Okay, audio it is still working on. The beauty of this audio is this is truly conversational, but it takes a lot of time basically. Okay. Because what is happening here is that it is being executed on the Google Cloud. So it all depends upon the traffic condition at that point of time. So normally it takes a little bit more time, particularly for audio and video. Rest all you can generate it quite easily. Now, apart from this, let's say if you are interested in generating a research proposal, okay, which you wish to submit to some funding agency, that is again possible, okay. Or otherwise, you can generate various reports. Let's say for teaching learning purpose, if you wish to generate, you can say study guide, okay, blog post. So those things can be generated by simply clicking on this report button, okay. Moment you click on report button, you will find something like this. So what is there? Briefing doc. Normally student demand for short notes, okay. So that you can create using this briefing doc. Study guide can be created, okay, wherein short answer quiz, okay, suggested essay question and glossary of key terms. That sort of a study guide can be created. You may create a blog post, insightful takeaways distilled into a highly readable article. Okay, that is again possible. Then it has suggested format, certain format. Now these formats will depend upon the kind of input sources you have selected. So accordingly, this will vary. Okay, if you create another notebook, you will find altogether different suggested format for that. Okay. Then let's say you are not satisfied with all these templates. Okay, this first line as well as the second line. You wish to create your own report. Okay, that is again possible by simply clicking on this create your own. And here you can type exactly what you want, what kind of a report you want. So let's say I am interested in creating a research proposal, create a research proposal using UGC guidelines. Okay, and then simply say generate. Okay, so it will create a research proposal for you. Okay, it will create a research proposal for you. All right. Now, the beauty of this audio and video is it is truly conversational. That is, you can stop that audio or video in between and ask your specific query. Okay, that fellow will reply to your answers. Okay, your query, whatever you have asked uh, to that particular person. Okay, so that is what I wanted to demonstrate. But since it is time consuming, we will not wait for that particular activity. Okay, but you can do so quite easily. Okay, that is again possible. Okay, that is again possible. So this is one of the basic tool, and you may utilize these tools for teaching, learning, and research. Okay, teaching, learning, and research, right? And even for, you can say, research proposal creation and so on and so forth. And this tool is completely free as on date. So you need not have to pay any single pie to anybody, right? So that way, this tool is very important, okay, and it is very fantastic in terms of resources and so on. Okay, having said this, let us move ahead with some other tool on the research front. But the biggest problem in your session is, okay, I don't know what is happening at your end. Because let's say if you have any specific query with regard to a particular tool, if you ask there itself, it would be better. Okay, so I will wait for a minute so that you can put your stuff in the, you can say, the message box. Okay, if it is so, or otherwise, I presume that there are no more queries and we will proceed further. Okay, so we'll proceed further. In the chat box, if it is there, okay, let me check it out. Okay, 92%. So again, attendance still going on, right? Anyway, not an issue. Let us move further. Okay, let us try to move further on some other front. Okay, so we'll discuss a tool, what they call it as, which is typically for research. Okay, what they call it as elicit. Okay, so what is elicit? Let us see. So elicit is a tool which one can use for analyzing or synthesizing research papers. Okay, for using elicit, what you need to do is simply go to elicit.com. If you are a first time user, okay, you need to sign up. Okay, you need to sign up with your Gmail credential or any social media account. Okay, it has got most of these tools. They have got facilities to sign up using LinkedIn or Facebook or Gmail. Okay, so you may do so. Right now, I'm showing you my own account. Again, this is the free account. Whatever I'm using, it is a completely free account. Okay, I have not paid a single pipe for using this particular tool. Okay, so here you can give AI in CRM, Indian scenario. Right? So this is the topic which I have given to this particular tool. So what has happened, as you can see, it will extract some 10 odd papers. Okay, and all those papers will be listed out in the column number 1, wherein you will find the title of the paper. Okay, then the author, DOI, all other things will be there in the first column, in the paper column. Okay, 10 paper will appear in a single chunk. Okay, if you wish to load more, you can go for this load more option. So another 10 paper, meaning thereby 20 paper will be listed out and so on. Second column is by default the summary of all those papers. It is by default. Okay. Now let us see, that is how to analyze or synthesize all these 10 papers in terms of some other parameters. Okay. Let us assume that I am interested in identifying the research gaps. So how can I do that? Okay. The idea is pretty simple. What you need to do is go to this right hand side, wherein you will find this edit column. Okay, so click on this edit column, say add new, and type what exactly you want from the tool. So let's say research gaps. Okay, so while deriving the research gaps, okay, if you wish to pass any specific instruction, you can type all those instruction in simple English like statement in this instruction box. Okay, right now I am keeping it blank. Okay, then what kind of a output you want, whether you want any specified yes, no, maybe. Okay, so you can do so by picking up the relevant box. Okay, right now I am considering any as the default. Okay, and then simply say add column. Okay, then simply say add column. Moment you say add column, what will happen? Okay, as you can see here, okay, one column called research gaps would be added. Okay, that will be the third column, and it will extract research gaps from all the research paper one after another, and that stuff will be populated here in this particular column. Okay, as you can see here. Okay, since we have considered only 10 papers, so it has extracted the research gaps. Okay, in some paper, if it is not mentioned, then it will say not mentioned. The abstract discusses AI application and challenges rather than explicitly stating research gaps. Okay, so if it is not there, then it will not give. Otherwise, wherever it is mentioned, say for example, this research on adaptation of AI integrated CRM system in Indian organization remains rudimentary. Okay, leadership support and so on and so forth. Right. So what I'm trying to emphasize is the tool will extract, okay, the research gaps from all those research papers, and it will follow the instruction whatever you have given in the instruction box. Since in our case we have kept it blank, but let's say if you pass on some specific instruction, it will obey all those instruction, or it will comply to all those instruction while crafting the answers. Okay, so right now I'm using a free version. So this free version has got some limited, you can say, limitation in terms of number of columns. Okay, that is right now we are almost done with the 3 column: paper, summary, and research gaps. So I can add one more column. So it's not possible to cross more than 4 column. It is not possible to cross more than 4 column. Okay. but we are all Indians, we find solutions to every problem. So let's say if you are done with a particular column, what you can do, you can very well delete that column by going to that column heading. Okay, so go to that column heading, like say summary. Okay, click here. Okay, simply you will find edit, duplicate, save as preset, and then delete. So delete it once you are done with that. Let's say research gap, again I am almost done, so I will delete this column. And now again I am free to add 3 more columns, right? So 3 more column can be added. Now let us see, the tool will suggest you some suggested columns. Okay, so summary was by default. Let's say outcomes and benefit is the suggested column. So we'll just try to have a look at it, what is there in this suggested column. So if you click on this outcomes and benefits, okay, so it has the title is there, and this is what I was referring to. That is, you can pass on your own instruction. Now this is a template provided by the tool, or the column suggested by the tool itself. So as you can see here, these type of instruction you can give. That is, extract all reported outcomes and benefits of AI integration into CRM system, including now blah blah blah, right? That is quantitative, qualitative benefits, specific metrics, whether outcomes were measured. So as you can see, the idea behind demonstrating this is, this way you can add up your own instruction. Okay, you can add up your own instruction. So this is a suggested column. So it is expected that you should write instruction in this particular manner, okay, while crafting the answers for you. If you wish to pass some specific instruction, otherwise it will look at the title heading and accordingly it will generate the output, right? So this elicit is fantastic for analyzing or synthesizing research paper, even carrying out literature survey. Okay, it is fantastic tool in terms of all those parameters. Okay. Now let us move ahead with something on the agentic front. Okay, agentic front. Okay, say wherein we will just, there are 2 options as a matter of fact. Okay, one is the N8N. Okay, that is, I'm not referring to I'm not referring to any particular tool. Okay, but I'm referring to, if you recall, okay, prompt engineering, and the second one was context engineering. So how to build AI agents, okay, without writing a single line of a code. Okay, without writing a single line of a code. Okay, that is what they call it as zero code or no code uh, tool. Okay, so let us try to build a workflow automation using Zapier. Okay, as I said, Zapier is one of them. The second one is N8N. Okay, so right now I'm showing you the Zapier one. Okay. Okay, if you are a first time user, definitely you need to sign up using your Gmail credential. So right now I'm continuing with the Gmail. As I said, you may continue with Facebook or Microsoft or some SSO, right? So right now I'm continuing with Google. Okay. I'm using my personal account. Okay. And then I need to simply authorize it. Okay. So say continue. What has happened in this case? Zapier is giving problem to. You can give a try with some other tool. All right. I don't know what has happened, but let me give a try. Normally there was no issue. Continuing with my Google. Okay. Anyway, we'll try NET-N. Okay. Let's see whether it works. Okay. So right now, actually, I'm using all the free accounts. Okay. It may happen that, but normally it was working fine till yesterday, but I don't know what has happened on admin panel. Okay. Now this is the another one. Okay. Wherein oh no. All right. Anyway, so we'll move ahead with some other tools on the research front. Let us try something on Research Rabbit. Okay. So Research Rabbit, okay, it is typically used for you can say carrying out literature survey. Okay. For using this tool, what you need to do is simply say Research Rabbit AI. Okay. And it will take you to something like this, wherein once again you are supposed to log in with your Gmail credentials. Okay, right now I'm logged in from my Gmail account. Okay, then what you can do, you can specify something with AI in, say, let's say CRM. Okay, Indian scenario. Okay, and then simply say search. Now this rabbit is searching for you and it will bring some real literature in your domain, topic you are interested in. Okay. So let's see what are the various features of this research rabbit and how it is useful for carrying out literature survey. Okay. Yeah. So as you can see, what has happened, it has captured around 10-20 odd papers. As you can see here, all those papers are listed out here. Okay. Apart from that, what you can do, you can set lot many things here. Okay. Let's say I am interested in a particular author. I can specify that author. Okay. I can search for a particular article. Okay. How many search count right now? I'm using this 20 search count. Okay. I may go ahead with 10 or 40 depending upon my need. Okay. Then let's say you want to search papers in a specified period or from a particular year to particular year. So you can specify those things from this publication date. Okay, wherein let's say I'm interested in last 20 years or last 10 years, okay, or 12 years. What kind of quartile I am looking for? Whether I am looking for a SJR quartile Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So those things can be it can be very well selected using this Q1, Q2, Q3, 4. Okay. Then you can specify the H index you are looking for. Okay. Then whether you are interested in only open access or so those things can be set here by clicking on the appropriate box. Then let's say whether you are interested in retracted papers. Okay. Exclude retracted or only retracted. Okay. So both way you can do. So all these settings can be done quite easily here. Okay, and then you can search, you can carry out the search. Okay, so this is very powerful in terms of resources. Okay, Research Rabbit. Okay, apart from that, you can connect this Research Rabbit to what they call it as Zotero. Okay, which is one of the most popular referencing tool. Okay, referencing tool. So that can be done by simply clicking on this Zotero. Okay, and then connecting it to your Zotero account. So it will capture that Zotero collection directly while carrying out the search for you. Okay. Then BibTeX is there and other facilities are there. So it is very powerful tool for carrying out literature survey. Okay. Then another product based on this Research Rabbit or literature survey kind of thing is the connected papers. So what are connected papers? Let's see. So let's say connected papers AI. Okay, simply go to this connected papers. Okay, wherein you will find something like this. Once again, you need to sign up with your Gmail credential or any other social media account. Now, the beauty of connected paper is it will give you everything in the form of graphs, as you can see here. Okay, let me show you. We'll give some topic AI in, let's say, CRM. Okay, Indian scenario, right? And simply say build graph. Okay, simply say build graph. Don't know. Yeah. So AI in IKS, this is the topic which I have given, and see what has happened. Okay. So you can very well see here. Okay, you can very well see in the form of graphs. It is giving you the names of the authors. Okay, along with how their work is connected with each other. Okay, so this will give you an exact idea who are the major player in your domain. Okay, so you can very well identify, okay, real researcher working in your area. Okay, then apart from that, it will give you all these graphs. Okay, apart from that, you can go for looking at the prior works. Okay, by clicking on this prior works. Let's say I'm interested in derivative works, so I can do so by simply looking at the derivative works and so on and so forth, right? So this connected paper is once again very powerful tool for identifying real stuff in your domain, right? Real literature in your domain. That then Research Rabbit, I think I have already told you. Okay, then you may try something like consensus. Okay, consensus, right? So that is another powerful tool. Okay, consensus AI for research. Again, very powerful in terms of very many things. Okay, very many things. Okay, if you are using it for the first time, you need to sign up. Okay, sign up with or continue with Google. Okay. So once again, you need to sign up with your Gmail credentials. Okay, simply say continue. Okay. Now, for the very first time, it may ask you, okay, who you are and so on. Let's say graduate student or faculty. Okay, then simply specify the area. Let's say computer science. Okay, start Zotero import. Right now, I'm not looking for it. And then again, you can connect. Okay, you can connect with now what else you can do here. Look at this. Okay, on the left hand side, okay, you have got very many things. Okay, you can create citation graph, you can search for papers. Okay, you can look at the, you can say, then again you may connect it with your Zotero and so on. So it is very rich in terms of resources. Okay, it is very rich in terms of resources. Let me show you certain things on the, you can say, the Google AI Studio. Okay, let us try to explore this. Okay, Google AI Studio. Okay, so in Google AI Studio, okay, simply go to Google AI Studio. If you are using it for the very first time, you are supposed to sign up. Okay, okay, now these are the this is the platform which is available to you. Okay, this is the platform which is available to you, and these are the, you can say, different things which I was talking about, that is how to ground it with Google search. So you have a button, toggle button here. Okay, so you can make it on and off. Okay, so this reduces the hallucination. Okay, what else you can do? Now let us say I'm going to this my this thing, playground. Okay, wherein you will find numerous models. All these models are completely free. Okay, all these models are completely free. Okay, so you may use any one of them based on your need. Okay, and so on. So there are hundreds of models available under this Google AI Studio. Okay, then one important tool which I wanted to share with you is the Hugging Face, right, which is a platform. Okay, what they call it as the Hugging Face. Okay, so Hugging Face is something wherein you, once again, you will find hundreds of AI tools along with the data sets. Okay, so if you are using it for the first time, okay, once again you need to sign up. Right now I'm showing you my account. Okay, this is my own account, Mohd Atique. Right now, what is there under this Hugging Face? Okay, you have hundreds of models, as I said. Okay, simply click on this models. Okay, and again, whatever parameters we are talking about, all those parameters are listed out here. Right. So then the data sets are there. Okay, the data sets are there. Then you can create your own spaces. Okay, you can create on your own spaces. Now look at the categories in which you have got numerous models available, like say image generation, video generation, text generation. So you click any one of them, you will find again hundreds of models over there. Now you can play with any of these models. They are completely free. Music generation. Okay, so you can do anything, okay, whatever you feel like using this, you can say, Hugging Face. Okay, it is fantastic and very resourceful in terms of models and data sets. So you, let's say if you wish to carry out some research and you intend to use certain data sets, so you'll find hundreds of data sets available here, right? So again, spaces can be created. Okay, you can create your own space. Okay, by let's say simply clicking on this new space plus new space. Okay, wherein if you click on this, you need to specify the name of the space you wish to create, what kind of visibility you want, whether you want it private, public, all those things can be set, and simply say create space, right? So using Hugging Face, again, you can do lot many things, and you can play with hundreds of models, okay, without paying a single pie, because this is a free and open source platform. Okay, one last aspect I wanted to share with you, that is, while interacting with all these models, okay, the biggest problem is whatever interaction you will have with all these models, okay, it is completely unsafe. Why I'm saying so? Because let's say if you wish to create a question paper for the forthcoming examination. Okay, you must have heard about the controversy which has arisen in case of this NTA. Okay, wherein there were some concerns raised by the inquiry committee that the questions were created by using some GenAI tool, right? So if you use GenAI tool, that too in the cloud form, okay, definitely you are at risk. Okay, your confidentiality. So whatever questions you are generating, they are not at all safe. Okay, so my objective behind depicting these two platforms, one is the Olama and the second is the LM Studio, is that you can download these frameworks along with the models, and you can work with all those models, free and open source model, okay, in a completely private environment. That is, you can download all those models along with the framework on your local machine, and from that point onwards you will not require any internet connectivity. Okay, that is the basic functionality I am telling you. Apart from basic functionality, using Olama or LM Studio, you can create your own large language model. Okay, so let me show you that is how you can go ahead with that, right? So simply go to this Olama free download. Okay, Google it. Okay, go to the very first link. Okay, wherein you will find this download Olama for Windows. Okay, most of us, we are using Windows, so you can download the Windows version. Okay, download, simply click on this download for Windows. Okay, one executable file will be downloaded in your download folder. Double click on that and install it on your machine. Now, one thing you need to keep in your mind, this Olama and LM Studio, they are very resource hungry. They are very resource hungry. Why I'm saying so? You have to have minimum Core i7 with 10th generation, with probably minimum 8 GB of RAM. If it is 16 GB, good enough. Okay, and sufficient amount of hard disk. Okay, so don't try it on lower configuration machine. So if you have this kind of a hardware infrastructure available with you, then you can download this Olama. Right now I have downloaded in my machine. Okay, then you need to populate it with various models. So what are the various models available? Simply click on this models link. Okay, you will find n number of models here. Okay, I will show you that is how to use this Olama. Now, Olama can be used for even creating your own large language model. Okay, using RAG. If you recall, okay, somewhere we have talked about retrieval augmented generation, wherein I said that is you can download the pre-trained model, free and open source model, and you can retrain them or maybe fine tune them with your own or organizational data. Okay, and then you can adapt it for your organizational usage. So for that purpose, again, this Olama can be used. Okay, so since I have installed it on my machine, let me show you that is how it works. Okay, so since I have installed it, I'll directly show you the, again, this is very resource hungry many times. Okay, I used to keep this demonstration at the end. Okay, the reason is simply, say, the only reason is that many times it creates a lot of distraction, right? So because very resource hungry. Okay, so let us open this Olama. Okay, I'm running it. Okay. In my case, what has happened, I have downloaded due to the space constraint. I do not have sufficient amount of hard disk, even though my, you can say it is Core i7 and 10th generation with 8 GB of RAM. Okay, but I do not have sufficient hard disk space. Okay, so that's why I have downloaded only one model here. Okay, and what is the name of that model? That model is Llama 3.2, as you can see here. Now this Llama 3.2 is already downloaded. Okay, this framework is ready. Okay, now from this point onwards, I don't require any internet connectivity. Okay, so whatever prompt I type and whatever response the tool will generate, it is completely confidential. It is between me and my laptop. Okay, so you can carry out some confidential activity wherein you do not wish to share your stuff. Okay, the same is applicable to your research as well. Okay, so if you are doing research, definitely nobody will love to upload the unpublished work on some platform, okay, for doing some paraphrasing or any other activity, right? Now, as you can see here, Llama 3.2 is there. Okay, now these many models are there. I can simply download them by clicking on this link. Okay, right now I will not do it because I do not have ample amount of space. But this Llama is there, okay, and it is ready for use. Now I can interact with this Llama by typing my question here. Whatever now, the duty is you should be disconnected. Okay, if you are connected again, there is every possibility that it will go to the cloud version of you can say Llama 3.2 because you are connected. Okay, if you are not connected, definitely it will use the version or the desktop version, whatever you have downloaded. Okay, so my advice would be while using this, uh, don't get connected yourself with the internet, okay, because it will, if you do so, definitely it will use the cloud version. Okay, the other important features I wanted to demonstrate with regard to this Olama is you can create your own large language model. So as you can see there, this is structured LLM is my own large language model, okay, which I have created. Now how to do that? Okay, even though it requires a little bit complex process, but I'll show you that is how this is possible, right? So let me first of all quit Olama, okay, go to this command prompt and see what else you can do with this Olama. Okay, right now, yeah, simply say Olama, okay, and it will show you the list of commands which are available for you to use. Okay, as I said, I wish to create a new model, my own large language model. So you may say create and then the name of the model. Okay, and then there are a lot of things. Okay, you need to train it. Okay, the RAG has got a lot of things. Okay, chunking, all those activities you need to carry out. Okay, it is not that simple, but you can at the end. Okay, you can create large language model using this Olama. So create command is for creating a large language model. Then push is there, push a model to a registry. Okay. Then pull is there, pull a model from a registry. Okay. Then you can copy a model. Okay. Remove a model and so on. So all these commands are there. Okay. For your use. Okay. Then on the similar line, we have a product called LM Studio. Okay. So let's see what is there in LM Studio, right? LM Studio, free download once again. Okay. Since we are using Windows, okay, so simply go to this first link, okay, and go to this download basic for Bionic for Windows. Okay. So similarly, you just download this, okay, install it on your machine, and then again, just like Olama, we have various models here. Okay, so you need to populate all these models. Okay, that is exactly parallel to Olama. Okay, LM Studio is exactly parallel to Olama. Okay, let us try to run it. Okay, let us try to run it. Let me check whether, yeah, this LM Studio, again, I have installed it on my machine. So simply say LM Studio and open. Okay. In case of LM Studio, I have installed two model probably. So you can use any one of them. Okay, again, due to hard disk constraint. Will take little bit more time. Okay. Now, yeah, as you can see, very resource hungry. Same thing is applicable to this LM Studio, whatever we have talked with regard to Olama. That is, you have to have minimum Core i7, 10 generation with sufficient amount of hard disk and sufficient amount of RAM, minimum 8 GB of RAM. Now let's see what is there in this. Now select a model to load. Okay, again, you don't require any internet connectivity once you have downloaded the models. So let's see what are the various options. So as you can see here, I have downloaded Llama 3.2 1B instruct and Gamma 2 2B instruct. I may use any one of them, okay, by simply clicking on the model. So let's say I'm using this Gamma 2 2B instruct, okay. Now it is asking me to runtime update. So some update is available, okay. I may go for the update, okay. Right now we'll skip it. Okay, now as you can see here, this progress bar, okay, it is being loaded. Okay, once it is loaded, okay, you will get the prompt here, okay, wherein you can type and interact with this tool. Again, you don't require any internet connectivity from this point onwards, right? From this point onwards. All right. So this is LM Studio. This is LM Studio. Dear participant, I hope you are with me. Yeah, now this is ready. Now you can interact with this. Okay. But once again, if you are connected, definitely there is every possibility that it will go to your cloud version. Okay. So the basic thing is you should be disconnected from the internet. Okay. If you are connected, definitely it may go to that this thing. Okay. So dear participants, so this is all from my end. Okay. There are a few more things which I wanted to demonstrate, but yeah, so you may go ahead with another important tool, what they call it as Teachermatic. Okay. Now this is very excellent in terms of resources. So you have got hundreds of generators here. Okay. You can generate lesson plan. You can carry out a lot of things using this Teachermatic. Okay. But again, the demo version has got some limited functionality, but you can give a try to this Teachermatic, okay, wherein you have hundreds of generators, okay, hundreds of generators, okay, which you may use for your teaching learning purposes, okay. So again, once again, you need to sign up with your Gmail credentials, okay, create an account and then start using the tool, okay. So even you can create classroom questions, okay, image-based content generator. There are hundreds of generators, I tell you. Okay, scheme of work, lesson plan, as I was referring to. Okay, so you can create your lesson plan quite easily, okay, by using this Teachermatic. Okay, Teachermatic. Right. So, dear participants, so this is all from my end. Now, if you have any specific query, okay, I'll be happy to answer. All right. Very nice. Very. Okay, sir. Can this tool make slideshow? Slideshow means PowerPoint presentation. Yes. Okay, I think I have demonstrated this feature for Google Classroom. Oh, sorry, not Google Classroom. Notebook LM. Okay, wherein you can create a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, let me show you where it is. Okay, you can very well create PowerPoint presentation using this Notebook LM, but yeah, there it is. Okay, go to Notebook LM. Yes, so we will use this is the this one which we have created today. Okay, go to here. The slide deck is for PowerPoint presentation. So it will create a PowerPoint presentation using all the 10 sources or whatever number of sources you have specified here. So this slide deck will create you a detailed deck or a presenter slide. Okay. Again, there are ways and means. You can pass on some specific instruction here. Okay, and then simply say generate. So it will generate a slide deck for you. Okay, a powerful slide deck will be created. Okay, now our this thing is ready. I don't know whether I have shared my this thing. This is the interactive mode I was referring to. So this audio we have created. Okay, so you have an interactive mode here. Okay, you have an interactive mode here. I don't know whether I have shared my sound with you. Let me check it. Okay, otherwise, this is what actually I wanted to demonstrate. What has happened? Yes. So let me share my screen once again, and okay, I'll share my sound as well and try. Okay, I wanted to show you the interactive mode. Okay, let me check out Google Studio. Okay, what we are referring to. This is the someone generated. Okay, this is the notebook which we have created, and probably this is the audio. Okay, so PowerPoint I have already shown you. That is how you can create using this slide deck. Okay, slide deck is PowerPoint presentation. Let me show you this interactive mode of this one. That is why Indian business switch to AI CRM. Right. Is having some issue. Let me
closing deals.
So they're just doing admin. But I read in the Worksual source that these AI systems are actively scoring leads based on over 60 behavioral signals in real time. That's weighted customer. Your inquiry is important to us.
So I hope
A
you can
huge
hear
deal. It mandates strict.
Right. I hope you can hear it. Let us try this interactive mode. Okay. And now I'm joining. Okay, joining the discussion. Okay, that is playing. Okay, now I'm joining the discussion, wherein I may ask some question. Okay, so you may join the discussion. I don't know.
Whoa, did someone just break the fourth wall? Let's hear it.
Hello, how AI is used in Indian context? Okay, for CRM. Please elaborate. Hello.
Navigating a massive road trip used to mean wrestling with this giant unfolding paper map.
All right. So as you can see, it has entertained my question as well. Okay, that is the interactive mode. Okay, which I wanted to demonstrate. Right, this is the interactive mode. Okay, if you look at this hand symbol, okay, you can click on that. It will take you to the interactive mode, wherein you can pause the audio in between and ask your questions. Okay, now this slide deck is being generated. Okay, let me check what other things are there in the chat box. Okay. Yeah, excellent session, excellent guidance and session. Okay. Okay. So probably we are almost at the fag end of our session, right? Plagiarism check tool. Yes, you can try answer this. Okay, there are Muara, there are bundle of tools available. Okay, wherein up to some limited extent, again, it is not possible to check the entire thesis. Okay, with some limited number of pages limit are there, or the size, file size limit are there. Okay, you can use those tools. Okay, like say answer this or Moara as I said. Okay, you may try those tools for black check. Okay, they have got some built-in black check facility. All right. How is there any plagiarism check tool? You know, plagiarism. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent information. All right, then, dear participants. So this is all from my end, and probably we are almost it's 15:30, right? So let me put on record my sincere thanks to the organizer, particularly the Malmiya Mission Teacher Training Center at Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar. Okay, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Marathwada University for giving an opportunity to interact with such an august gathering. And we'll meet someday. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, one and all. Okay, I very well know that it's not possible for you to mute yourself. Okay, so I'll take your leave. Thank you once again for a patience hearing. So let me stop.